What if the world's most praised health oil is quietly damaging your mitochondria every time you cook with it? Stick around because the Mediterranean diet didn't tell you the whole story. Hi, my name is Marc Bates. I'm a metabolic health coach. This is part of my question and answer series. Is olive oil really healthy? What the Mediterranean diet didn't tell you. Okay, let's look at the question here. This oxidative cascade you're describing completely reframes olive oil's risk profile. But here's what puzzles me. The Mediterranean diet studies that launched olive oil's reputation show positive health outcomes. How do you reconcile these seemingly contradictory findings with the molecular damage mechanisms you just outlined? Well, that's actually a very good question. It's truly critical and nuanced because you have to understand the Mediterranean diet studies, especially landmark trials like Predimed, gave olive oil a healthy halo. So, how do we square that with the molecular instability and mitochondrial risk from oxidized oils? Well, let's unpack this from four key angles that reconcile the epidemiological glow with the biochemical underbelly. Okay, first, what the Mediterranean diet actually included. Contrary to how it's marketed today, the traditional Mediterranean diet included animal foods like fish, goat cheese, lamb, and offal. That's organ meat, liver, heart, brain, things like that. Was low in sugar and flour with minimal ultra processed foods. Involved intermittent fasting, for example, religious fasts or limited winter rations, and relied on seasonal fresh foods, not shelf stable supermarket olive oil. In other words, these populations were metabolically resilient. They weren't obese, insulin resistant, or inflamed. They're eating small quantities of unheated olive oil, often raw or cold. Like I've been saying before, it was used as a condiment, not as a cooking oil. Or nor did they use it to slaver on top of their salads, which they didn't eat. Living active, low-stress lifestyles with tight social bonds and sunlight exposure. Oh, wait a minute. This is not nutrition, but this is very important. This is part of being healthy. You need to be active. You need to have a low-stress lifestyle and having good social bonds, having people you're talking to, having events that you're going to, right? I'm a churchgoer. I like going to church. I think that's a major social bond that people should have. It does that. And going outside and getting exposed to the sun. Right? We're not cave dwellers. We're not sitting inside our houses, avoiding the sun. Go out there. Get in the sun. So a key point here. The Mediterranean diet studies reflect a whole lifestyle pattern, not isolated olive oil biochemistry. All right. 2. The real benefit was likely what they didn't eat. Much of the observed benefit in these studies can be reinterpreted through the lens of comparative baselines. In Predimed, for example, olive oil is compared to low-fat diets high in grains. Both olive oil and nuts showed benefit, largely due to replacing processed carbs and seed oils. The context reality. A monosaturated fat like olive oil is metabolically less harmful than PUFA-rich seed oils or refined carbs, but that doesn't make it ideal. This is a classic relative risk versus absolute risk distortion. You're healthier drinking filtered water than soda, but that doesn't mean water cures disease. The same applies to EVOO versus canola oil or low-fat sugary foods. All right. Number 3. Olive oil studies do not equal olive oil in modern kitchens. The olive oil used in traditional regions and clinical studies was often freshly pressed and locally stored, consumed within weeks or months of being picked and pressed, used uncooked or at most gently warmed. Modern consumers store their oil for months or years, often in warm kitchens, frequently cook at high heat, degrading the oil, buy EVOO adulterated or mislabeled, right? An issue documented extensively in food fraud investigations. So Even if the oil in the study was beneficial, the oxidized oil in your saute pan today may be pro-inflammatory and mitochondrial disruptive. Number 4, epidemiology can't detect molecular damage. Olive oil studies like PREDIMED, EPIC, or Lion Diet Heart rely on food frequency questionnaires, self-reported intake, observational endpoints like stroke, heart attack, or death. What they didn't capture were oxidized LDL particles, 4-HNE or MDA load, mitochondrial uncoupling or DNA damage, and subclinical neurodegeneration, fatigue, or infertility. Oxidative damage is subtle, cellular, and cumulative. It's not likely to show up clearly in 4 to 5 year nutrition trials unless you're measuring it directly. And asking somebody, even let's say at the end of every week, what did you eat this week, is really misleading. You rarely get the correct answers. It has been shown that people answer what they think you want them to answer in the first place. They don't remember properly. It's really hard. Unless they're taking very detailed food logs every day, you really can't trust what they're taking. And good food logs would include having them weigh everything that they're eating. Very difficult to get average people to do for you in the thousands like these studies rely on. Okay, so the reconciliation. So how do we explain it all? Olive oil appears beneficial because it replaced sugar and industrial seed oils. It was consumed by lean, active people. It was used cold and fresh. It's consumed in whole lifestyle context, and it does contain some polyphenols, while also causing harm when it's heated or stored in long-term storage, is eaten by inflamed sedentary modern humans, is fried and oxidized, it's isolated and marketed as health food, but not enough to neutralize, but there are some polyphenols, but not enough to neutralize all oxidative damage. So, it's what's the reality of these studies? Okay, final thought. Olive oil as the nicotine patch of fats. Olive oil may be less harmful than what it replaced, but it doesn't match the metabolic precision of ancestral animal fats that co-evolved with us. It's not a villain, but it's not the savior it's made out to be, especially in heated, oxidized, or excessive forms. Context does matter. Preparation matters. Individual metabolic health matters. And none of that gets captured in a food frequency chart or a health claim label. So if you're healthy, metabolically flexible, and drizzling a tablespoon of fresh cold-pressed olive oil over wild sardines, you're probably just fine. But if you're deep frying with it or using it to justify cutting out nutrient-dense animal fats, you're working against your mitochondria, not with them. So, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the appropriate section. Once again, this is a community. We're here to help you learn what you want to do, what you want to learn. So please leave a note about what you're looking forward for, and we'll try to produce that as quickly as possible for you. Thank you. And once again, if you haven't done so, please like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who may help and benefit from it. Thank you very much.